Well, Dave, now we're inside the new Prius. What exactly has kind of changed in here? Let's start with what's missing through here, through the center here.
Yeah, our good old flying buttress, right? You know, our cockpit feel is I think somewhat here still, but we do have more space between us. But I do like the easy access to the center console. But if I back up a little bit, one of the things I like is if you look at the dashboard and the doors, it has a very wrap-around and open feel to it. The doors are a bit concave on the outside here to really make us, I feel like I have more room in this car, even though maybe mathematically I don't, it may be similar. I just feel like we have a little bit more space here between the two of us, which I like. And of course we have all new instrumentation we can talk about in detail. But yeah, that center console piece here is gone. We have a little bit more open and airy feel, a little bit like a Prius V maybe.
Yeah, very similar to Prius V. Our drive mode buttons have moved down here. The EV mode button is down here. Our trademark joystick shifter has moved to the center.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So a lot of, I think, good changes. You know, a lot of people didn't like the floating bridge look. I always I never minded it.
Yeah,
but,
me neither.
But I like this design. It works very well.
Yeah, I think it's very ergonomic. If you look at the steering wheel, we've gone back to a round steering wheel now and have lost that iconic D-shaped steering wheel. Some folks may lament that, but I kind of like this feel.
Is that because of TNGA, that change?
Well, I think it's kind of related to it in that we felt like we had a much more dynamically driving car, and we wanted to go ahead and put a round wheel in here, anticipating people perhaps, you know, not necessarily using it more, but you know, but maybe twisting it a little bit more,
right,
and getting with it. Most sports cars have a round wheel, and we just thought it fit the styling, the new styling of the new Prius. And you'll see a lot of the white treatments in here that go with that. But if you look at the steering wheel, some of the things I like is that your phone call buttons and voice command button are down on the left. You've got trip meter reset button here on the left, on the side of it. And then your sound system and mode for your sound system, a control button is here, as well as, of course, you can use your touch screen. And then on the right, though, we have a couple of advanced safety features here with lane keep assist and our dynamic radar cruise control range adjustment. But then the circular switch and button assembly we have here on this side, this runs your MID screen up there to allow you to choose between your different displays.
So it's like a four-way navigation.
It kind of is, you know, because you've got two displays up here that have the ability to give you a lot of vehicle information of different sorts, and not only just your speed and your trip meter information, but of course your fuel consumption information on your current trip by, you know, either miles or minutes, monthly fuel information, a lot of that same great data we've had. But what do you think about the readability of this?
Yeah, that screen is so much
Isn't
better
it easy?
looking. Yeah, it almost looks like it's a painted portrait right now. You know, a picture compared to the third gen Prius.
Yeah. If you get back to the third gen, we had a sea of green up there. It was cool for its day, but now look at your ready light is green, your clock is white, you know, your indicator lights are amber or yellow. So to me, it helps draw my eye. If I want to look for the time, I'm going to go to that white display. In my brain, I'm going to think, okay, the white is my clock. Is my ready light on? Am I ready to drive? It's green. There it is. It's right there, and it kind of stands out. So we have a lot of information available here. Some of your advanced technology equipment can also include a heads-up display, or HUD as we call it on the vehicle, and that's part of an equipment package that can be had on the 4 model.
And what all can be displayed on the heads-up?
And on the HUD display, what you're going to see is your vehicle speed, and also basic trip meter information, you know, your trip information. But also, if you do go in and you choose a destination and navigate, it will give you turn-by-turn instructions up there too. So taking you back to third gen, it's actually the same information we had then. But once again, if you look at the quality of these gauges versus the third gen, our new HUD is every bit as improved over the previous one as well.
Okay.
So that's kind of a nice thing. And then, you know, we're at the climate control outputs here. I like our climate controls here. To me, these are very ergonomic. I like these little toggle switches. You know, the lift up and down types are easy to use. But the other thing that's cool is we have an auto AC mode on this car now that you can select, and what the air conditioner is going to look at is how many people are in the car, and it knows that you and I are in here because of our seat weight sensors. But that if we opened the back doors in the process today, maybe we had friends back there, it would recognize that the back doors were open, and then also focus airflow for the rear seat occupants too.
Oh wow!
But in the end, if we open the doors, let's say we put some stuff back there. Let's say you and I are going to go on a kayaking trip, right? And we threw gear in the back. The system would think, oh, geez, there's people back there. But we can then go ahead and tell it, no, just bring the air to the front. And we can change that ourselves, too.
So using those sensors, you're basically just tying into data that was already available.
Yes.
And just utilizing it in new ways.
Yes. We're letting that climate control system react automatically to what the car already knows about some of the occupants and actions around it. So if you think about it this way, if you put it in auto mode, and you have a routine that you follow, it's a very easy way to have your AC set up to blow the way you want it to blow without having to do a lot of programming every time you drive it, right? And on the same side of the coin, though, if you're in the car with your friends and you don't like the output that you're getting, just control it manually. So you have a choice. It's really cool. In-tune audio here, too. What do you think?
I actually haven't had much time to play around with it yet, but it's certainly the screen size is definitely improved, and the clarity of the icons and whatnot is definitely improved.
So yeah, being an older guy, I like having a big screen and large icons. The screen resolution is great. This new in-tune system, also the processor in the head unit is much faster. It's a dual processor now. We pick up about 85% enhancement on our speed of operation on this system. So it's very, very quick to react, which I like too. It's not, you don't have to wait as long, especially when you're navigating, which is, I think, a big help. It also has the ability to use Siri Eyes Free if you have a Siri-equipped phone, and it's paired to the car. You can actually use your voice command button and ask Siri questions that way instead of having to pick the phone up and do it. Speaking of phone stuff, down here where we have our key stash right now is our Qi wireless charging. This is also part of an option for advanced technology equipment on the car. So once again, let's say you and I are in the car. You've got your phone cabled in and we're listening to your music library on your phone, but my phone seems a little undercharged. I can just drop it down here on the wireless if my phone is compatible, and while we're enjoying your phone and using it for a music player, and maybe you're talking to somebody, I can also be wirelessly charging at the same time. Wow. So it gives a little flexibility there. It's a slow charge, but it will maintain the phone's charge when you're using it on a data plan, and we'll charge it up if it is quiet. And then down here in this center stack area, as you mentioned, we got our Gearshift lever and our drive modes there. And as you see, if I poke the drive mode button, we're in normal mode now. It's kind of a cool green. If I go to power mode, it's an angry red, DEFCON red, or we like to say aggressive red, perhaps. And then beyond that, we can go to eco mode, which will show up as a blue indication there too. And those modes act just as they always have. The power mode gives you more power in the early part of the pedal throw on the car, and the eco mode is going to give you less power initially, just to try to help you save fuel.
And does eco mode still also modify the air conditioning?
It does.
Or is that what this additional?
You can actually select an eco heat and cool all the time, but in eco mode it still does actually affect the profile of your fan speed operation and stuff to slow it down a little bit and help you save power. But you do have the ability to run on an eco fan setting here too all the time. Okay. By using that button there.
And is that essentially the same thing that the eco mode does?
Yeah, it's going to run the compressor at a little bit less output and slow the fan speed down a little bit for you. So on a marginal day where maybe you don't need a ton of air conditioning, but you want a little bit, it feels a little moist in here, you can run it on eco mode and save some power that way, and then cut down on the gas engine runtime that you got. And then we still have our EV mode down here too. And of course, it's telling us it's not available because the battery is low. We've been sitting here a while, right? Yeah. But that also is, of course, as it always has been, right?
Right.
If the car's not ready, it beeps and politely declines. Yeah. But that is also still there, and the parameters of operation that 0 to 25 mile per hour thing is still in effect on the new car.
Okay. And EV mode when you're driving, you can still engage it while you're driving up to about 41 miles an hour? Is that where we're at?
The EV mode button, if you're going to go into the EV mode operation, it's 25 and under, and you can engage and disengage that at low speeds, but all of our hybrids, including the new Prius, will drive in electric power up to about 42 miles an hour. So yeah, one of the things I like to do is pulse and glide, right? The old technique, you're at a light, you go ahead and you gun it pretty good, maybe 3/4 throttle, get up to 35 or 40, I'll lift the throttle a bit, and then reapply gently, because when I lift the throttle, the vehicle, if it's warmed up, will put me into electric mode, and then I'll reapply gently and let the electric motor just kind of keep me moving along at my speed, and then I can stretch that for a mile or so.
And that engine warm-up period is what you were talking about, has been decreased thanks to the shutters?
Yes, we're still using our exhaust gas heat recirculation with the coolant to try to warm the engine up, but the new shutters actually speed it up even more. I don't have an exact performance time spec yet, but it should be quicker than third gen by a little bit, which then makes it much better of a short drive cycle car for those of you that are driving in town and doing really short hops. That should help you a little bit to get a little bit better fuel economy. That's where most folks do tend to suffer a little bit on their economy, is if they're, they drive 1 mile down the road, get out of it, sit there for an hour, then go somewhere else for a mile or two. The car never really gets hot, and it doesn't get on its emissions loop on the gas engine, and it tends to run a little bit less efficiently and use a little bit more fuel.
Okay.
Yeah. So otherwise, inside, it's really about styling. How do your seats feel? What do you think?
Yeah, you can definitely feel more bolstering around the sides, that's for sure.
Yeah, a cool side story that we talked about a little bit earlier today is our chief engineer, Toyoshima, broke his tailbone a few years back, and he's got a very sensitive backside, if you will. And so he actually ended up being the primary seat tester for us on this car, which is great. You know, pick the guy who's got the sensitive back and rear end. And so these seats are set up to produce less high pressure points on your underside, your coccyx bone there, your ischium, they call it rather, your hips, and keep you in a more evenly weight distributed condition. Then the bolsters up here are also a lot bigger than they used to be in the previous car. Once again, if I'm going to be up here having fun and you want to relax and not be thrown around, these seat bolsters help. We also worked on the back seat too to widen the cushion a bit and make it more comfortable and just help everybody out with their long road trip comfort.
And are these seats unique to the Prius? Or?
They are. They are shaped and sized for this particular car. It's very much our standard whiplash injury lessening design with the seat frame and the position of the headrest, but it is these seats are uniquely tailored for Prius, and were developed by the Prius engineering team.
Now I see something missing up here.
And that would be our upper glove box.
Our upper glove box has been removed.
It has. What do you think about the lower? Is it big enough to make up for that?
We'll let the people of PriusChat make that decision.
It's not huge, but it's big. I can put my of course, our owner's manual portfolio will fit in there nicely, and then any other items. But yeah, we did, from a styling perspective, decide to pull that and just try to make this a more futuristic design. Some folks are going to look at these white treatments, like the center console and the gear shift area and the steering wheel, and kind of scratch their heads a bit. But once again, Chief Engineer Toyoshima wanted to have a futuristic look for this car. Prius is Latin for to go before. We wanted this to be a front-running car from the styling perspective as well as technology. So this may be a little bit polarizing, but we think it's very cool. Chief Engineer thinks it's cool too, and we're happy to see these components. But if you are disappointed in your white center console, we do have an accessory coming out that's a nice little insert piece that's got adhesive on it, and you can just drop it in here and it sticks to it. You still got your cup holders and key available to you, but it turns this black.
Okay, I actually didn't end up minding this as much as I
like
thought
it too.
might stick out to me.
Yeah, look how easy it is to find your stuff down here. It's not dark, especially in the evenings and stuff. I initially had a negative reaction to this when I first saw the car. I'm going to be honest, but I think as I look at it now and think about me using the vehicle, I think A, this is going to grow on me, and B, I think it's going to be very practical in the end. I think you'll be able to find your things, especially in the evening hours, without having to turn your lights on and try to look.
Now the high-end radio system on this, are we using a JBL system again?
JBL is available on your top-end models as an option. So you will have your in-tune premium audio with navigation and JBL as the highest level of equipment. Standard equipment on the Prius 4 is our JBL premium audio with navigation. And as you can see here, this system is not a JBL system, but does once again have HD radio, Grace Note for album art, and our XM satellite subscription. It's a 90-day free subscription for new owners, which is unchanged from our cars in the past. And we still actually have a CD player in this car too, so it might be a little bit antique on somebody's count, but there are some audiophiles that like the CD sound file, sound quality.
There's a lot of people that still love their second gen because it has a tape deck. So.
Exactly, right. So we're still keeping some of that technology around, but we've got a nice big area here real estate-wise to put it in, so we really had space and we weren't too concerned about it, and so why not offer that up to the consumers out there. Our buyer demographic we felt would appreciate having the CD and the satellite still available, or maybe if we were in a Scion product, I might be telling you how those buyers weren't that interested in it, right? But you still have all the Intune connectivity, so I can still, have my Intune account on my phone, pair it to the car, run some of my basic Intune apps on the vehicle. So if I do want to be a little bit more, young and hip in my electronics and use my phone apps, I can do that still on the audio head unit.
So what's the basic head unit in the 16 Prius?
It's just Intune audio, and that will be your standard, AM, FM, CD radio, basic sound amplifier, but still has all the Bluetooth connectivity that you can need in the car.
HD radio?
And that level does not have HD radio.
XM,
not on that head unit.
Okay.
So those are a couple things there that aren't there. You'll see those things in the gone from the system in like your Prius 2 model. But then as you go to 2 Eco and up, you're going to start to see options for some of these equipment bits on the radio come in, and then also you'll see them become standard as you hit the 3 and move into the 4. That's when you're going to see more of your premium audio systems. And
one thing I was happy to see that is standard now is three-door smart key.
Yeah,
That's a nice step forward, I think, for the Prius.
Yeah, it's something that I like to see also on the models. And of course, push button start has been around forever now. The smart key and smart start system. And I surely remember very clearly, sadly so, on the first generation car, that was my first ever car that I had that had one of these. And so it's become kind of a tradition with Prius, and we're sticking with it, as well as the shift by wire system here with our rather futuristic shift lever. These are some little features that we think people will identify with, so we're sticking with them.
What are some of the safety features that have been added to at least this level of Prius?
Well, the great thing is if you look at things like your passive safety systems, things that protect you in an accident, the new platform, our new global architecture platform, we talked about chassis rigidity, but it also performs very well in crash tests. Haven't seen the results yet, but internally they've been doing very well. So we anticipate owners being happy with that should they have the unfortunate event happen to them. In addition to that, though, we do have the advent now of what we call Toyota Safety Sense. And we have a couple different variations of it, and the P variation, there's the C and the P. P is what you're going to get on this car. It's more for the midsize and more premium vehicles, and it's going to include things like your dynamic radar cruise control system. We've got a pre-collision system that also has the ability to sense pedestrians out there, and the lane keep assist system. That also includes blind spot monitor with cross traffic alert. And then we also have a couple of things that aren't in TSS, as we call it, such as our intelligent clearance sonar and our intelligent park assist. But they're kind of related to it. So we've got some of these low-speed systems like the clearance sonar and park assist that'll help us park, and then also use the sonars around the car. Let's say we're backing up here and there's a wall behind us, and I'm getting too close to it and we're talking blah, blah, blah. We're really wrapped up in our conversation and I'm not paying attention. It'll beep at me and say, hey, it won't say, hey, dummy, but it's telling you that, right? And if I'm still so absorbed in what we're talking about, it'll put my brakes on for me and stop us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of nice. And then if I'm pulling out, same thing, and we're distracted talking about the new batteries on the Prius plug-in, which I'm not allowed to talk about. And
oh, come on. This is a great chance.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe I'm coming too close to that car next to us, right? The system will also say, it'll use the sonars and let us know that we're being a little optimistic on our departure angle there and encourage me to correct my steering. So those are great, but the TSS systems out there, the pre-collision system is great. We've made some changes to that system over previous models in that now it not only uses a millimeter wave radar, but it's going to use a camera system that's mounted high up here on the car to confirm what it is you're looking at, and it adds to the reactive sensitivity of the system quite a bit. And then it also, with that camera, has the ability to sense pedestrians if they do happen to step out in front of you within a little bit lower speed range. So we have a little bit more ability to help avoid accidents and also perhaps avoid putting the hurt on some poor pedestrian too.
And one of my favorite features, I think started with the 2012 model, was the dynamic range cruise control.
Yes, yes.
And we also have that in the higher end models on the Prius now.
Yes, we do. We do. And the difference between, let's say, what we introduced back, I think around 2010 on the third gen car, is that with the advent of the camera and also the Prius has a unique version of our dynamic radar cruise control or active cruise control, and that is it's a full speed type dynamic radar cruise control. Our other systems, when they get down to about 25 miles an hour, it's just going to turn off, and you're going to have to take control as the driver. The system on the Prius, though, if the car in front of us slows down enough and it's on and we're slowing with it, right? If he comes to a stop, we can too. And then when he starts to accelerate, if I just hit the resume button here on the stock and just lift it up, it will actually reaccelerate us back to our preset speed as long as the vehicles in front of us will let us.
I got to test that today, and I was amazed at how well it works.
Yeah, it's very effective, isn't it?
And you can also just do a tap on the accelerator.
Yes,
to
exactly, to resume it, absolutely.
Which I think is a little bit more intuitive than consistently having.
That's your first reaction
anyway, cruise
right?
control stop.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just to tap it. So that's a good call. We got a couple ways there to re-engage it, and I think it's just a really handy system. I've enjoyed using it in testing too. I think it works very well, and I've been very happy with it, and look forward to seeing that on this car, especially on the long road trips.
Yeah.
Otherwise, inside here, I think we've taken a pretty good tour of it. We talked about our 60/40 split folding bench in the back, which allows us to put people or cargo back there. This model here has power seats. You'll see in some of the vehicles like our 2 Eco, where weight savings are a key, we'll have manual seats on those models, right? But with here, I've got a power seat and lumbar support and everything, so we can get good and comfortable riding around. And as a driver, you've got that advantageous seat operation. I like that, and just the overall comfort of this vehicle. How is your noise level? That's another one we didn't cover.
It's been surprisingly good. I've got a meter that I'm actually going to check the levels on, but
okay.
But yeah, I was impressed both on the interstate and on city roads how quiet it was, and during your presentation this morning, you said that, you know, part of the TNGA, I guess, design was that you were able to put down soundproofing without the gaps and the holes that you had in the previous.
So yeah, we've done a lot to help enhance or reduce, I should say, the noise and vibration and harshness of the interior of the vehicle. Yeah, with the, like you said, the complete one-piece sound silencer pad on the floor panels, additional padding up under the dash and the cowl area. So we've got a lot of NVH reduction treatments going on, as well as that stiff chassis. And like you, I was very impressed with that too when I drove the vehicle, and I'm really curious to see how your meter readings turn out later. And I don't think I even have to cross my fingers on this one. I think we'll be in good shape.
Well, you know, I've gotten addicted to the silence of my Prius plug-in.
Yes.
Because driving in EV mode so often, you know, that car stays silent all the time. And this one, even with, you know, the gas engine obviously running, had that same level of quiet. So that was a good sign, I thought.
Yeah, me too. I have been very happy with it initially. I haven't spent a lot of time in the car, just been testing it on the track and not been in it for hours, but I do find it to be very quiet inside, and so I think your meter readings rather are going to, I hope, turn out favorable. I believe they will for us. And other than that, though, you know, gosh,
I think we've done the whole car at this point.
I think we've pretty much disassembled it and re-put it back together, right?
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dave. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
And the PriusChat community really appreciates it.
No, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to get more driving time in the car, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I don't blame you.
For more information about this 2016 4th generation Prius, check out PriusChat.com. If you'd like to join our forums, you can find out all the news and information on the 4th gen Prius. That's PriusChat.com. Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.